Pyriform fossa, tonsil applied anatomy, and Killian's dehiscence. So in this we will be describing the topic, the competency, boundaries and clinical significance of pyriform fossa. In the picture you can see the fossa is located in the laryngopharynx. Medially it is bounded by airy epiglottic fold or inlet of larynx. Laterally it is bounded by inner side of thyroid cartilage covered by mucous membrane. Pyriform fossa is lined by mucous membrane. The mucosa of the fossa is pierced by superior laryngeal artery and the internal laryngeal nerve. The internal laryngeal nerve is the sensory nerve of the pyriform fossa. Clinical significance of pyriform fossa. It is supposed to be the site of piercing of fish bone that can result in the damage of internal laryngeal nerve. The fossa is also made use of by smugglers. Clinical significance. In a study, out of total 330 cases who attended the hospital with complaints of fishbone in throat, 24% had no foreign body. In the 76%, there is an impacted fishbone. In the study, it was also found that most fish bones were found to be lodged in the tonsillar region, that is 31%, followed by tongue base 20% and valvula 18%. In the oral cavity, the impacts of fishbone was 7.2%, the pharyngeal wall 5.2%, whereas the pyriform fossa and esophagus only 0.4% each. The above study clearly shows pyriform fossa is not the common site of fishbone impaction. Then anatomical basis of tonsillitis, tonsillectomy, adenoids and peritonsillar abscess. Celsus was the first to report removal of tonsils. All tonsillar structures have similar histology and similar function. The palatine tonsil are the largest tonsils. It has a thin capsule on its deeper surface. Tonsillar crypts are lined with stratified squamous epithelium which extends deep into the tissue. Adenoids. Adenoids or the nasopharyngeal tonsil are covered by pseudostratified columnar epithelium. Adenoids or nasopharyngeal tonsil grow until the 5th year of life, often causing some degree of airway obstruction. This subsequently atrophies as the nasopharynx grows and the airways improve. Tonsils and adenoids are predominantly B-cell organs. There is one criteria called as center criteria. The differentiation of an ordinary sore throat from that of an episode of acute streptococcal tonsillitis is made on the basis of standard center criteria. What is center criteria and what it includes? The oral temperature is above 101 Fahrenheit. Tonsillar or pharyngeal exudates are present and it is of more than 2 centimeters in size. There are tender anterior cervical lymph nodes or a positive swab throat for tonsillitis. These are the center criteria. Frequency of tonsillitis. The frequency of tonsillitis is the most frequently stated indication for a tonsillectomy. Another predictor of tonsillectomy was the presence of tonsillar exudates or debris at the time of presentation. 70% of the patients undergoing surgery had anterior cervical adenopathy at the time of presentation. This was a fairly good predictor of the severity of the episode and subsequent possibility of surgery. Then clinical significance of Killian's dehiscence. Pharyngoesophageal or juncus diverticulum is a triangular weak spot on the dorsal wall of hypopharynx, also known as Killian's dehiscence or Killian's triangle. The name of dehiscence, that is splitting or bursting open of an wound, derives from German physician Gustav Killian, who identified the site of formation of pharyngoesophageal pouch in the year 1908. Anatomical basis. In spite of century of research on pathophysiology of juncus diverticulum, the area of dehiscence still remains more or less unknown, as well as the anatomical basis for the development of diverticulum. Anatomical basis. Triangular area muscular weakness is formed between oblique and transversely oriented muscle fibers of inferior pharyngeal constrictor muscle. So in the picture you can see above the thyropharyngeus muscle, which are oblique in nature, and there is cricopharyngeus muscle, which are transversely oriented. Then the role of pharyngobasial fascia. The consistency of connective tissue also contributes to the mechanical weakness of dorsal hypopharyngeal wall. It is reported that at this level of the pharynx, the pharyngobasial fascia is replaced by loose connective tissue. Juncus diverticulum consists of protrusion of pharyngeal mucosa, submucosa, through the musculature layers of hypopharyngeal wall. It herniates more to the left, rarely seen on the right side of neck. There are various theories. The most accepted theory is inadequate opening of the upper esophageal sphincter due to reduced compliance of cricopharyngeal muscle. Such a process results in high intramural pressure during deglutition and leads to development of diverticulum. Juncus diverticulum has been associated with presence of esophageal reflux. It is believed to be due to induction of structural and functional changes of the cricopharyngeus muscle through the influence of gastric acid fluid. Van Overbeek, after examining and treating a large series of patients with the juncus diverticulum, suggests that individual anatomical variations could be a critical factor for the development of hypopharyngeal pouch. Patients with longer necks might have a larger triangle of Killian than would persons with short neck.